What's up guys, we're here and I'm back once again with another Division 2 build video, and today this is my Big Boss Man Slam build for PvE. You can also utilise this build in PvP if you are DC farming, if you're going through those landmarks. This will make your life a lot easier due to how the build is set up. It's a lot of fun, and I want to give this to you now just before Christmas, a little bit of festive joy from me to you. Now this build again has a good amount of damage to elites. It has a huge amount of survivability in PvE, giving you have 3k skill power. You're talking 300k armor, 120k health on this build. So you have a lot of survivability, and as you can see in the gameplay, you're all about buffing your skills, your weapons. Yes, BTSU gloves, Firefly Blinder, Hive Stinger. It does that great support job that absolutely shreds and rinses through NPCs of all shapes, sizes and colours. Yes guys, this is a really fun build to use in PvE. I'm loving it and I want to share this with you now. Guys, let's do this. Yes guys, we're back once again like the Renegade Master with a WOO build. This is a festive WOO build and I've got my little sexy hat on as well. I am bad Santa, happy Santa, either way. I am bearded grey Santa in this build video, and this is a Big Boss Man build for PvE. And again, a lot of us, we roll with Seeker Mines because Seeker Mines in PvE, they're just super duper strong. They're so powerful. And, you know, I'm a bit off meta, me personally, not just in real life, but in the game as well. I wanted to deliver something a little bit different that works, that synergizes quite well, and not to mention is something that not many people will utilise in PvE. And it's something I wanted to bring to the foray to show you guys that it's more than capable of holding its own and being really, really strong. Let's take a look at the Big Boss Man build for PvE. Guys, first and foremost, you can see this is a hybrid build. Yes, this is a 7 offensive, 8 defensive, 7 utility build. A little bit crazy, bit hybrid. So this is my awesome hybrid build. I'm using the Technician, yes, aka Nerf Gun Specialization. And the way I've got this build combined, really, again, is a bit weird and wonderful, but it works. This is a template. Guys, I'm having fun with this build. You also definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. But guys, you don't have to roll with these pieces. Mix and match to whatever you so desire and whatever suits your playstyle. That's what I do, and it works for me. So I have to synergize this now and get it all together and say, this is what I'm having fun with. So check it out. Now, Nerf Gun Specialization, 787 in terms of stats. Now, I'm rolling with the mask, which is Wyvern Wear. Now, this is a go-to mask for me on most of my builds when it comes to dealing some good PvE damage. That's because I need that Fenris Group AB mask or a piece on the build. Why? Because I'm going to get that 10% AR damage. And if you're running with an AR, then it's nice to have that 10% on the build somewhere, so you're not shooting out marshmallows. You want to be shooting out bullets, not marshmallows. So this is a good piece for me. 52% damage to elites. That's a nice piece. 6% critic chance and hard hitting, which is 25% damage to elites. Nice, I like this piece. By all means, as I said, template, blueprint, you do what you want, but I'm just giving you some skills and utensils to use in future. Now, the chest piece. The chest piece is ongoing directive. Why am I using ongoing directive? Because I'm using 2-piece, that's 25% bleed damage, and I'm using the Hive Stinger, so yeah, that's a no-brainer. I want that bleed damage. A 2-piece is key on this build and synergizes really well for me. Now, in terms of the pieces, in terms of the attributes, you're looking headshot damage. Doesn't have to be that. This is just a nice piece that I have because it has a really nice high roll of skill power of 757, but it also has 15% weapon damage, so you can hit quite hard with this particular chest piece. That's going to buff your AR. I like that, and that's why I have that on the build. Now, in terms of the talents, it's Vital, which is 25% extra health. A lot of my builds I roll with low health because, again, that armor has a higher value than health, but this gives me that extra option. That's, in total, we're looking at 420k HP effectively because I have a lot of sustain on this build, so I can face tank if I so wish. sit in cover, and there'll be a lot of sustain on this build, which is good, and I'll go through how and why very shortly. But vital, 25% health, is nice on this build, and I like that. Now, the talents, or sorry, the mods. Offensive mod is weapon damage, assault rifle damage, marksman rifle damage. The defensive mod is armor, explosive resistance, and total armor. And the utility mod is skill power, increased blind duration, and increased burn duration. Now, the holster. The holster is the second piece of ongoing directive for that 25% bleed damage. It has 617 skill power, 39,000 health, and again, that gives me that survivability that's key for PvE and PvP, of course. The offensive mod is weapon damage, assault rifle damage of 5%, and another weapon damage with assault rifle damage 4%. Now, the kneepads, they are the Gila Guard brand set, and that's 5% total armor. With this, I'm going to get 10% total armor from the attribute and the talent Patience. After being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. And that's nice. That is really nice to have on the build, because if you're looking for a skill build, or any type of build where you know, for example, heroic missions, where you're going to struggle to face tank, you will struggle. So having something like this on the build with no healing skills, this is going to help you dividends. It's going to pay a lot back for your armor. This will help. So definitely think about Patience on the knee pads. By all means, go calculate it if you want your skills back a tad quicker. That's fine. But if you like a bit more survivability, like I do sometimes, I like this on the build. But again, it is entirely your decision. I've opted Patience. And for me, the way you look at that, 300k armor, 10% of that is 30k, 5% is 15k. So after 5 seconds, I'm getting that 15k back per second. And that's alright, I'll take that. That's quite nice. The defensive mods are armor, explosive resistance, total armor. And then the second one, yeah, exactly the same. Armor, explosive resistance, total armor. That's it. Now, the gloves are the BTSU gloves. And we know what these bad boys do by now, and I'm using it. Again, Firefly Blinder procs the gloves. We have the Hive Stinger. Yes, it procs the gloves. Both status effect skills. That will proc my gloves simple, and that will give me that extra buff. Not a huge buff, because I've only got 7 utility stats, but still a nice buff to have. And I'm using that because I get an extra 70% skill damage, 70% skill duration. So that's nice to have. It is really good to have on the build. And again, just buffs my skills up a little bit. So I like that. And in terms of the mods, skill power with grenade damage and bleed damage. Skill power, extra outgoing healing and bleed damage. The defensive mod is, yes, you've guessed it, I've got a few of these. Armor, explosive resistance and total armor. Now the backpack is the percussive maintenance backpack. That's Epsom armament. 20% skill haste. You can see 2 nice little rolls here. Skill power, sorry, they are health and they are armor, and that's decent. Again, I'm just buffing up my my health. You could, again, up to you. You can go for skill power, skill haste if you so wish. With this, I'm using this piece because, yeah, perfect tech support. Plus, I have hardened on there because I want extra armor. I want that survivability. So when I do take this in the DZ, which I have and does fairly decent at DZ landmarks, so it's decent for farming. It's going to give me that much more survivability. I'm not running around like a feather in the wind, so one shot and I'm down. So I have a little bit of sustain on this, and again, I can survive on this build quite easily. Again, 300k armor, 120k health. That gives me that chance to, again, at least fight back a little bit. Now, the mods, utility, skill power, bleed damage, and skill power increase blind duration and weak point kills. I'm using that because that just gets me to that elusive 3k skill power to make all the mods tick on this build. Now we'll go through the weapons. The first weapon, and I rarely use this, but I wanted to use it just to showcase that it is actually off decent. And that's the invisible hand high-end assault rifle. And that is, again, a nice weapon to have. It's decent. The talents, Eyeless. Deal plus 30% weapon damage to blinded enemies. After 3 kills, applies the blind. Yes, the blind effect to the next enemy you hit. And that will obviously proc your BTSU gloves. So something to bear in mind with this. Again, if you're going to use this in challenging content, you'll rinse. You will absolutely just smash through NPCs because you've got your Hive Stinger. That's going to murk everything. And then you have this bad boy. Happy days. Perfect Allegro is that 15% rate of fire that makes it the perfect piece. And Recharged. While equipped, skills deployed at full armor have 25% duration, charges, and ammo. And I'm using this, this for obviously the bad boy, which is the Hive Stinger. That gives me an extra 3 charges. The mods, stability, rounds, critical chance, and damage to elites. My secondary is the military P416. Now, I usually have a military G36 for that. Again, that'll give me some extra buff from Rooted, but I'm using this purposely because it has Sadist on. Because what I would do, I could, if I drop my Hive Stinger, if I run out of bullets with my invisible hand, I can switch to this bad boy. Gets me again the 14 a mag, and I'm dealing in that 21k base damage, and again that Sadist talent. So 3 kills with that, applies the bleed. You can see where I'm going now. So both for your primary and secondary weapons, if you switch between these bad boys, you are dealing a lot of damage. You're going to get 30% off Eyeless, 30% buff off Sadist from your skills. That's nice. I like this. Optimized, which is 15% weapon handling, and Rooted, which it's a given. It has to be on the build. While equipped and in cover, all skill damage and healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds. Buff is lost when next in cover. Can occur once per 60 seconds. If you have the KSI, or whatever it's called, KSG shotgun, then yeah, that will help. That will give you perfectly Rooted. I can't be asked to farm for it just yet. I will do in the new year. I promise. I'm a bad guy. Bad Santa. Anyway, mods. Reload speed, rounds, reload speed, damage to elites. You can see why I've gone for reload speed, just to get it back quickly so I can do some more damage from the Sadist talent. And yes, Rooted as well. Now, the sidearm is the 93R. I'm using that because solely in Riven. While equipped, enemy kills have a 5% chance to refresh active skill cooldowns. Can occur once every 60 seconds. Now, this is just not your skills, it is your weapons as well. So please bear this in mind. So this is a good talent to have. The mods, optimal range and critical hit chance. Now we'll take a look at the skills. The primary skill is the Firefly Blinder. Now again, that causes that blind status effect on enemies. You can see the 16.7 second cooldown. This could be better. When we see the mods, you'll go, they're not very good. Well, they're not very good. There's one good one, and the rest are quite average in all honesty. So if you have some really nice mods, slap them on this build. You'll see you'll just generate a little bit more skill haste. Or, yeah, you want to infect more enemies, or again get a longer duration on the blind effect. That's totally up to you. It's your build. Now I have blind duration 2360. You can see there it's an okay mod. This bad boy, look at this, 2981. That's 198.7% skill haste, which is sexy. And on this one you have 2484, which is a good mod. It's okay. It's 165.6% skill haste. So you can see where the first mod and the latter mod, you can see where you can get them buffed up a little bit to make the Firefly Blinder even more powerful. So again, this is a good starting point for you guys. Now the secondary skill, this is where I'm going to get a bit of damage and sustain on this as well. So there's longer damage output. And that's because I have more charges. Now there's a refill speed of 2.4 seconds. There's 22 charges, but there isn't. There's 24. I'll show you very shortly. The duration 50 seconds, health 151k, damage 131k, which isn't the maximum damage by any stretch, but I don't want that. I want charges on this build. And as you can see, I have charges 90%, charges 86%. Again, that could be a little bit higher if I get a better roll, better drop, or this one, this nice damage roll of 97.8%. You could go damage, radius, charges. It is your decision totally. I've opted for damage, charges, so I have more drops on these NPCs, especially on heroic content, because you will see a lot of NPCs huddled around and this will work a treat for them. So yeah, that's why I've opted for charges. Now if we take a look at the stats on this, so we've seen the weapon and the gear stats on this, but let's look at the weapon damage. It is 21k, which is the Joyful Invisible Hand. Again, you don't have to use this. That is up to you. I'm using this because I use other weapons. So I want to mix things up, and this is a decent alternative, so I've got to share it. 11% crit chance, 25% crit damage, 59% headshot damage. The reload time is 2 seconds. Again, a bit of stability. My all weapons damage bonus is 19%. My AR damage bonus is 38%. So you can see I've got a little bit of damage on this build as well. So this is what makes it, viable for PvP in terms of farming DZ landmarks. And you can look after yourself, so to speak. 82% damage to elites, which is good. Could be a little bit higher, maybe for a better mod, or if I get some Badger Tough on the build, and I get an extra 7%. So there's still ways to max this out a little bit. Armor 301k, health 119k, health regen 60k, some explosion resistance. You see that's from my mods. Skill haste 20%, but again, this could be higher. I've opted for the hybrid, and this is what this build is. It is a powerful hybrid build. But guys, that is this. This is my Big Boss Man build for PvE. A lot of fun, immense amount of fun. Don't worry, it's not going to usurp Seekers anytime soon. Don't worry about that. For anyone who likes sitting cover and spamming Seekers, that's entirely up to you. I like to mix things up. I like to really rummage around and find some really good, cool builds to use in PvE. And this is a cool build. It's a lot of fun. And I've been using this heroic after heroic after heroic, and I'm loving it. I genuinely am. So I had to share this with you guys. But let me know what you think in the comments section, something you feel like using. If there's any way you can improve it, guys. Yes, I know it's a template, but feel free. Let me know in the comment section. You will anyway. But of course, if you enjoyed my content, you want to see more Division 2 content, smash the sub button, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.